but it's a broad scope in terms of sports teams, right? We can talk, Giants. We could talk Jets. We could talk Knicks. We could talk a little bit of Nets. We could, whatever. We could talk, out of state shit. Still drunk sports talk. There are other channels, and no disrespect to them, that are predominantly catering to one specific team. So they're having to regurgitate a lot of shit daily and really dig deep to try to produce content. And I'm not mad at that because when it's Giants football season or whatever sport they cover, it's popping. But when you have the off season, like now, it's just a bunch of speculation. It's will the Giants draft Malik Neighbors, O'Dunes, you're hearing Brock Bowers, you're hearing fucking Bo Nix, you're hearing fucking Jay Daniels,
Marvin Harrison.
And every day it changes. And the next day, well, maybe they're gonna trade up, maybe they're gonna trade down, but they're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. There's certain things we know. We know the moves they've made. Now with the draft, we don't know. We can only speculate what makes sense in terms of how we think, and try to go into the minds of Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll and kind of see what they do. Now there's a basic knowledge of we know the hole that they have, and we know that the needs that they need to address, right? But it's still at the end of the day, it's all speculation until that night, right? But that being said, we're gonna talk some Giants. The Giants, I'm tripping right now because I feel like we've talked about this maybe 10 times already, but we're gonna do it again because there's some new speculation going on. It's speculating that the Giants potentially might be trading up to obtain a quarterback. We all know, we all have from little things that Joe Schoen says, little things that Brian Daboll says, obviously the play of Daniel Jones, that the Giants are looking to move on from Daniel Jones, the way his contract is structured. We can get off that deal end of this year. But we always thought, hey, the first 4 to 5 spots, all the good QBs are going to be gone, right? You know what I'm saying? Somebody, we thought, okay, we're going to go out and get a playmaking receiver. Now they're saying, then it crept in for a little while that maybe we could do some deals with the Patriots, but it looks like Patriots are going to take Drake May now. That looks pretty solid. I don't know for sure. That looks pretty solid, right? But trading up to get a QB, right? This is what I have here. I have Caleb Williams going first to the Bears.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels, who is my preference, right? They say this is the latest CBS mock draft. And it's subject to change because it's been changing. Jaden Daniels, number 2 to Washington. Patriots, Drake May. Malik Neighbors, who I kind of like, but Malik Neighbors said a little bit of slick shit about Daniel Jones. I don't know if you heard that. I think it was last week. So 5, JJ McCarthy at the Vikings taking him. Now the original 5th pick was the Chargers. The Chargers don't need a QB, so that everyone's thinking that the Vikings, who have the 11th, I believe the 11th and the 23rd pick. Let me just check. 11th Vikings and the 23rd pick are going to draft up with the Chargers and get the 5th pick and select JJ McCarthy. Now JJ McCarthy has risen because a couple of weeks ago he was down
like in the second round, right? He was second round.
That's how crazy this shit is. This guy's up here. Bo Nix is down in the second round now. Penix is way down there now. So it's crazy. Number 6. Now this is exciting because the best receiver who I think in the draft is Marvin Harrison Jr. and they got him going to the Giants now. So I like Malik Neighbors. I even like O'Dunze, but I sign for Marvin Harrison all day. In your opinion, do the Giants trade up, try to snag one of these QBs? The main players in the top 5. You're also hearing about Bo Nix and what's the other kid's name? What Bo Nix? That's slipping my mind. Spencer Rattler.
That's what it was. They just had the training with him.
Yeah, and they brought in all these guys. I think the only one they didn't really bring in of the top guys is Caleb Williams because he's a foregone conclusion. And not to be long-winded, what do you think the Giants are going to do? Do they try to trade up maybe, disrupt some shit in the first couple of picks and grab QB, or are we going to stick to that playmaking ball and wide receiver?
I don't think, and to be honest, I think this is almost like a draft day, that movie Draft Day situation. I think the Giants are going to see what the Vikings do or what the Chargers do with that with that 5th pick, because I think
True.
that's going to dictate a lot of things. I think if the 4th best quarterback in the draft gets picked, I think the Giants are definitely going to go with a wide receiver, without a doubt. And that's what was my assumption regardless. Like, I would love for them to get a top 3 quarterback, but we do need a quarterback at the end of the day. We know Daniel Jones is possibly not our guy. We know he's been let me rephrase that. We know he's not our guy. We've given him a lot of chances, but you know what? I think getting him a wide receiver, like, I think that at that point is set in stone. Now, I think their contingency plan needs to be how we're going to get a quarterback for them to keep their jobs. What did Mara already said? Look, Joe Shane and Dable, their clock is not resetting. So they're still going to have to figure out how to win these games if Daniel Jones doesn't win, and doesn't pan out.
Progress. We need to see some type of progression.
Yeah, and I think at that point, like, we can see what they could do with any type of quarterback, but obviously you don't want to have, you don't want to waste your pick on a quarterback that you think might be. It has to be a quarterback that will be, and that's what Dable does. Dable's a quarterback guy. He didn't draft Jones, and look how, Josh Allen panned out for him. Like, we know he could do it. We know he might see something in maybe a quarterback in the 2nd round that might pan out just to hold them over a little bit, just to keep us above 500. But we need these weapons. We haven't had a premier wide receiver since we drafted Odell Beckham in 2014 or something like that, 2014, 2015 or whatever it was. That, and that was the last time. And he didn't even really shine like he was supposed to, because he was dealing at the end of the Eli era. So
but he balled out for a couple.
Oh no, he had like 4,000 or 5,000 yard seasons. But just imagine if he would have dealt with like a gunner of a quarterback, a gunner of a quarterback. Like, it's and that's what we need. We need a Jalen Hyatt. We need to really test out. Like, I don't care how good Daniel Jones' legs are. It's already been shown and proven that quarterbacks who run don't run forever. But quarterbacks with great arms can throw for a very long fucking time. Tom Brady has done it. Ben Roethlisberger has done it. Like, the list can just go on. We need a quarterback with the vision. We need a quarterback that can throw and stop making mistakes, hold on to the ball, not get injured, and we need to put the pressure on them. And this is Daniel Jones's time, and he can't complain if he doesn't have any more weapons. We understand he's dependent on Saquon Barkley, but we need to give him to somebody to throw to, because then if he comes back and says, hey, I have nobody to throw to, well then, maybe you're just not seeing it, and that should and that's what the problem is going to have to be at that time.
You make a couple of really good points. The point about a quarterback running as opposed to throwing, pocket guy as opposed to a runner. I think, and you know this, I think in nowadays game, you have to be able to do a little bit of both. And so you said so many things. And the other point you said, you talked about maybe getting a guy in the 2nd round, and if you don't like
building him up,
you can't get that guy in the 1st round, right? The top 4, right? Let's not just settle for a guy just to get a guy. People's jobs are on the line. We don't want to have another 5 years of a guy that, like a subpar guy. If you don't feel that's really a guy, and I think Joe Shane and Brian Dable are pretty smart. I don't think they're gonna go that route, but you have a great point as far as you said the 2nd round, getting a guy maybe later on in the rounds and build him up, because Mel Kiper said something similar to what you're going to say. And I want to play that clip real quick, and then we can talk about it.
See where he goes and if the Vikings are able to get up there and get him before the Giants do.
So, Mel, taking all this into account, you have the Giants making, in your mock draft, a very interesting move here. Tell everyone what you see them doing.
Yeah, get Malik Neighbors for Daniel Jones to try to help him and develop and build on what he did 2 years ago when he won a playoff game against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. It looked like he was moving forward to being an elite quarterback. Well, injuries obviously came around him, problems there. So you get the insurance. So Brian Daboll says, okay, I get the receiver to help Daniel, but I also get some insurance moving up to get Bo Nix. Bo Nix is 24. Bo Nix has a gazillion starts. J.J. McCarthy's just 21 years of age. Now you get a guy more NFL ready. You get a guy that, hey, if Daniel Jones gets injured or he doesn't take that next step, then you have Bo Nix waiting there to reset things and become that guy. Malik Neighbors said quarterback-wise, they said they're going to address it at some point. May not at 6. Maybe a wide receiver there, but then you go back up and get the quarterback. Will Levis, Tennessee moved up and got him last year, early in the second round. Similar situation here with the Giants.
Will Levis is still yet to be proven, but I understand what he's saying. That's kind of similar to what you said. I will say this real quick. Bo Nix has a monster arm. In turn, if we're talking, let me just pull up the quarterbacks. I want to where's shit? Where's my okay? Bo Nix, monster arm. If I had my preference, right, and I know we're probably not going to get him, it'd be Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels has legs. He has pocket awareness. When the play breaks down, he can extend plays. He has an arm. He has downfield awareness. I like Jayden Daniels a lot. The knock on him is that he's a little thin, but you get in the weight room, dog. That ain't no big deal. Nowadays, you can bulk up, real quick. Drake May, he's not as athletic from what I've seen he's not as athletic as Jayden Daniels, but Drake May, Drake May, he reminds me a little bit of Aaron Rodgers, and don't listen, everyone relax, in the sense that he's not a runner. He's not a Justin Fields. He's not a Lamar Jackson. But when the play breaks down, he's elusive. He can extend play. Remember how Aaron Rodgers in his prime, he used to give the Giants fits. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't.
Oh,
man. He wouldn't get out.
Extend that play like 10, 12 seconds.
Right. But he wasn't an RG3. But he was like, he got on those little gaps and seams, and he would, then he would slide right. And he would gain 7-8 fucking extra yards on a play. And he used to drive me nuts. Drake May has that type of potential. He's not a straight runner. He's not a Russell Wilson. He's not like I said, an RG3, Lamar Jackson. I mean, even Josh Allen, you name it. But he has that playmaking ability. Obviously, Drake May won't be here. I mean, not Drake May. Caleb Williams won't be here. Jayden Daniels like that will be here. So I'm of the mindset, just go ahead and get the receiver. And if you like Bo Nix or you like Penix in the second round, go for it, man. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, if like what I said earlier on the board, if Malik Neighbors goes to the Cardinals, I don't know why Marvin Harrison supposedly has fell in the draft, but you take Marvin Harrison all day. I was looking at an article the other day, and Louis Riddick, he's a former GM, former NFL player, a very knowledgeable guy. He said that Marvin Harrison is like a faster Devontae Adams.
That's crazy. That's a crazy comparison.
That's
scary.
That's scary. Devontae Adams, you can throw him on the outside, right? He goes one-on-one. He goes up against